Yes, I am here. Hi. I just wanted to record this Q&A section, so perfect. I put it on hold because my dog heard the ding and starts barking because he thinks it's the doorbell. So I need patience. So I'm thinking about, I have a 4-year-old, my 4-year-old granddaughter who I have a lot. And so I'm, as you were going through this, I was thinking of the different things when I would say, no, we're not doing this, and how this will be really helpful to find the things where she's strong in. I'm going to have to intentionally give her opportunity to have to wait to learn the patience, so that then I can bring this up to her. So I think that I've got it right. Mary Catherine, do you have input? Because I know you have a little about the same age.
Right. I just love this. You were trying to come up with game ideas. And as you said it, I was thinking like, oh my goodness, duck, duck, goose is a good one because they have to sit in a circle and wait. And everybody wants to be it. Everybody wants to be running in the circle and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, man, I was a rec therapist before I was a mom. And so learning through play is my jam. Like games and all of this. So I love that. And we also do, and it's funny because you don't realize you're already doing some of these things at home with your kids. If you play with your kids, a lot of times it is building these character traits. You know what I mean? So sometimes we moms are so hard on ourselves, like, I'm not focusing on any character building, but it's like truly just interacting with your kid. There is that built in. And we play a lot of hide and seek at our house. And I even think that could be counted as a patient, especially when I'm the one who hides, because I hide and I stay very, very quiet and I don't let them just find me. Like I'm like, mommy's going to have a break. But at the same time, I'm playing. But it's that, or for them too, trying to teach them, don't just like blurt out where you are, be quiet and wait till I find you. That's how we play the game. So
yeah,
this
and
is
a
good.
lot of times there are missed opportunities. It's not that, just like you said, it's not that we're not doing things that help a child develop their patience. But if it's not on our radar, if it's not intentional, it might be a lost opportunity to highlight, right? And so this is spotlight. I don't know if you could see that.
Yeah.
I'll talk in later videos about shining the spotlight on the thing you want to capitalize on, the thing you want to reinforce, so that it's on a child's radar too, right? We want to help our kids take ownership of this inner world of developing their soul traits, because taking ownership, when they take ownership of something, that's when we know we hit the ground running. We're on track. As long as it's just our desire, our we understand the importance of it. We haven't done our job until we've transferred that knowledge and that wisdom onto the kids. So these are just really fun ways to spotlight maybe all the different ways you're already doing things to develop that patience muscle.
Yes. And I love that too, because it kind of goes into, I don't know if you know Simonette, she's also done parenting calls, and like way back in the beginning of her parenting calls, she was talking about some of the behaviors can come from, like, if a kid's autonomy bucket hasn't been filled, and if they don't feel this sense of, decision making for themselves. And so it's kind of true. It all ties together, like they need to know, like what you just said, like they need to know that they chose to be patient, and that's a characteristic that they're building. Also, these words, like my son's 3, and he is continually, all the time, somebody will say something on the radio and he'll be like, what did you just say? What's that mean? Like the definition of words, like just to say patience or faith or, these words, it's like, humility. You're like, what does that even mean? Until they actually physically practice it, it actually defines it within themselves. Like, oh, now I understand this moment right here, right now, when I'm like in between, waiting my turn to be it and duck, duck, goose or not, or, whatever the game is that you're playing. Now I understand why when mommy says, okay, I need you to be patient, it kind of, we have to like physically define things for them. So it's it's like what you said, it's like a autonomy thing. Like now I am choosing this. It actually makes me think of, we do Charlotte Mason methods of homeschool at our house. And she is big, big, big on character building and habit training and things like that. And one of the ones that we've been focusing on with my daughter, who's 6, is truthfulness. Because I've noticed, you know, as she's been exposed to other kids, like we're in a co-op, you know, all of a sudden she's understood what it means to trick someone.
Mm-hmm.
And we've never been that way in our house. We don't trick people or be telling somebody something's happening and it's not. And so I noticed it started happening. She would say, "Oh, Isaac, Sean's outside." And my little 3-year-old believes her, and he would run out. I'm like, Sean, our neighbor's name is Sean. And then he'd come inside and he's all sad. And I was like, "What's going on? Like, why do you keep running out and in? And Sean's not there." And I realized she was telling him, she's like, I tricked him. And I was like, oh man, this whole thing is not truthful, you know? And how do you teach a kid what's true or not in the simple terms? And I had a friend tell me, she said, the way Charlotte Mason goes about it is exact. So she said, practice the habit of exactness with kids by randomly in the moment and let them know we're going to practice truthfulness. But hey, Raya, can you tell me exactly how many bananas are hanging in our banana basket? And she could just say, oh, there's just a couple. And no, actually, I need you to tell me exactly how many bananas you see hanging. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there's 5 bananas. Thank you for telling me exactly how many bananas there are. Later on in the day, just continually asking exactly how many stuffed animals are in your basket. And the more, she said, the more you practice that habit of exactness, when it comes to asking a detail, say something happened at school and the teachers didn't see it and they're wondering who did what, you know, and it's like, Raya, I need you to tell me exactly what happened in this scenario. And she'll give you detail for detail. You know what I mean? Like every little exact detail. But that's what we want, is to build that habit so that when they're older, like to lie is not even, it's a habit to be an exact, I don't know. So this is just so good because it's tying into what I'm trying to learn at home. But I think patience is probably what I should have started with. Like you kind of need to go back. I need to go back and start with a founding block of patience, because it is a painful process. So anyways.
Yeah. And it's a point of connection for parents to have with their children, because we all struggle with patience. So it's any time that we can show our children that we're human and be authentic in an age appropriate way, to say, hey, I get you. I know what you're feeling. I feel it too. And share a story of things that we're struggling to be patient with. And hey, you want to work on patience together? Let's build our patience. You know, depending on the age of the child will determine whether you're going to use patience muscles or just patience. But you get the point. This is a point of connection. We can bond over our struggles and our strengths and our victories. We can be accountable to each other. I find in coaching, a lot of parents feel that if my child were to see my weaknesses, I would lose my credibility. I would lose my position. And that's not the case at all. You can give away your authority, but by being authentic and letting a child see that you struggle with the same things they do, there can be like, really? You know, and now they're listening. They want to hear, how are you doing this? How are you overcoming this pain, the pain of impatience, right? Here's another motivator. Here's another carrot, is that we want to avoid pain. Human nature by default, we want to avoid pain and seek pleasure. And so for a child's natural impulses, it's valuable to tap into these natural impulses until they develop that maturity, right? We're all at varying levels of maturity, is to say, being impatient is painful. Being patient doesn't hurt so bad. It's not easy, but it doesn't hurt so bad. And so if we work on this together, we can kind of check in on each other. When I see you being impatient, I can point it out. When you see me being impatient, point it out. And this helps a child feel as important as anybody else in the house. So we'll talk about many of these concepts later on, but the concept of equal value, equal importance, but different roles is really, really important. And when a child can understand that parents are human too, we struggle with the same things they do, and yet we do not lose our role as the calm, assertive leader, everybody can relax in who they are, their role within the family, how we all interact, the ways in which we're all alike, and the ways in which we're all different. It's a beautiful harmony. But anyway, patience is a great principle to start with.
I have one that I use for my kids, and that's it is patience now that I'm talking to you about it or listening to you. And that's whenever we're having a conversation and two adults are talking and the kids always come up and interrupt, right? That's a really big one. I taught them to come up and put their hand on my shoulder and wait. And there for a while, I was like, I'll just continue talking until we have a break in the conversation. I don't purposefully say, "Oh, excuse me," and then turn to them. I make them wait. Now my grandchildren are doing the same thing.
We do that one, Crystal. That's a good one. And I think I learned that from Oprah, like somebody on Oprah, like back in the 90s. But when my daughter was like 3 or 4, that she would put her hand on me if she needed to tell me something. The difference is that she knew I put my hand back on her, and that said, I know you're here. What you have to say is important, but when there's a break, I'm going to get to you. So I would keep my hand on her so she knew that I knew she's there. That was the second part of it. We just did part B, and that was I put my hand back on her. So good job, Jen. Yeah, TikTok. Yeah, but I do.
Yeah.
And it was very great, and we're teaching it to the grandkids also.
Absolutely. I think I learned it from Growing Kids God's Way. And then there was another one.
That sounds much better than learning it from Oprah. Thanks.
Oprah probably got it from Growing Kids God's Way. Anyway, so
Probably.
the other one that I used is there's a character first curriculum where patients, they have the 5 I wills. Have you heard of that?
No.
So let me see. I pulled out the card because it was going to be patience. Can I share it? Is that
Of
okay?
course.
Okay, I don't. Patience versus restlessness. And patience means accepting a difficult situation without giving a deadline to remove it.
Mm.
And then the 5 I wills is number 1, I will change the things I can change and accept the things that I can't.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2, I will keep trying until I succeed. Number 3, I will make the most of my spare time. Number 4, I will not interrupt. And number 5, I will not complain if I don't get my way.
Mm.
And I used to teach patience, and it comes in like a character first. It was we would learn about the monarchy butterfly and everything. And so patience, I would always tell my kids, okay, every month we would take and do the 5 wills for a whole month on a particular character trait. And every month, at the end of that month, they would know the 5 I wills to that character trait. And I think that's where I got I will not interrupt.
Yeah,
I learned don't we learn so much ourselves when we do it?
absolutely. We're all on this journey together. I often talk about the toddler brain. Like toddler brain is not just in a child. I think we all carry around a little toddler brain too.
Absolutely. I told my daughter today, I told Candace, I said, Loyla's going to teach on patience. And she said, "Oh, no." Because whatever we teach our kids, we learn ourselves, right?
Yeah, for sure. I find that words, especially in the English language, and I'm sure you all have talked about this a million times, is that the English language is very sloppy we often don't understand, we often don't have the same definition or a clear definition for a topic that we're talking about. So to be able to get good clarity about what the word means and to be able to explain it to a child in simple words, and then give them, children have different learning styles. Talking about this in homeschooling, we know we all process and digest concepts differently. So to be able to have different ways of bringing the point, the concept into clarity for a child, typically visually, right? Children really gravitate toward visual, and songs and rhymes and games. These are powerful ways to really help a child understand principles that even for adults, I've had adults say to me, how do you define honor? How do you define alacrity? How do you define all these different terms that we're going to talk about as we explore the different soul traits? Sometimes we assume we're all on the same page about what it actually is, and we're not.
Go ahead, Jen.
Hi, I have a quick comment, and then I also have a question. The comment was, I think, like we were saying earlier, we do this, but we don't realize that we're doing it. And so sometimes, I would avoid either certain games or, like say Candyland, right? Where we have to wait our turn and you're not always going to get the blue space and all that. Those are tough things for my family. And so I found myself avoiding those games because I didn't want to deal with it. And it just caused frustration. And now I'm like, I'd rather them experience that at home in this, like, where it's a safe place than we're out in public at the library and we're having that happen there, which it's still happening. It just happened. But at least even for me, I have more of a control over the situation, which makes me feel better. And I'm like practicing how I would handle it. And like, these things are actually useful. They're not like burdens. Just give me a second, please, to my family. And, I think I like, the waiting and not just like blurting things out is important. And it's hard. So my question is, say you are in public at the supermarket or the library and you have an instant, you're working on patience. And, you're staying calm and your toddler, let's just use the example of an almost 3-year-old, that is unable to control those emotions. Now, I've heard that you should go right to the car because that's unacceptable. Or do you work through those emotions and those feelings, those big feelings with them in that situation? And I know it's going to be different, but I would love to just hear your opinion on that.
Yeah. So I've often described to parents that when you're working on anything, there's a lot of different things we're all trying to work on when we're raising children. And it can become like, it's like juggling too many balls in the air. At a certain point, you just lose everything and nothing gets achieved. So let's say you decide that this week, we're going to work on patience. Assuming you've already set up the conversation based on your child's age, and they know, that although you're not going to let everything else go, you're going to really focus in on working on patience for the whole week. That's going to be highlighted. And now being out in public is akin to test day. So in school, you're teaching concepts all week long, or in homeschool all week long. And some people, some schools, some teachers will test to see how much did you really digest? How much of this was retained and digested and become a part of who you are, right? So being out in public is like test day. This is where you get to find out where, if everything you've been working on at home is really getting digested and becoming a part of a child's natural character. So of course, at 3 and 4 years old, it's not going to happen that fast. And your child is going to have moments when they're out in public and they don't have any patience, and their emotional state. So this gets into neurology now. The brain is flooded with impulse and emotion, and their logical brain, the frontal cortex, is shut down. You cannot have a logical conversation with someone who is in a highly emotional state, especially in light of the level of immaturity of a 3, 4, 5-year-old. So it becomes a matter of focusing on the brain. It's no longer about, this is not appropriate behavior, this is not what we do in our house, because that's trying to use logic to change the behavior, and you can't when the brain is highly flooded. So, and I don't know whether we'll ever have a chance to get into this, but we're now talking about the 2 types of tantrums. The brain behaves in 2 very distinct ways when they're manifesting a tantrum. So let's say one of those ways is an emotional tantrum, and that's what we're talking about right now. I'm feeling, I heard no, there was rejection. And there you go. Flooding. Emotions highly activated, frontal cortex, logic center shuts down. You have 2 choices. You have a couple choices. Either you remove all the stimulation. There's too much stimulation, lights, sounds, smells, words. It's all too much. And you remove to quiet that down and activate, get back to that logic center. And you do that by saying, are you okay? Do you want some water? Right? As the stimulation starts to come down, you can begin to ask simple questions to engage the logical brain. Now that might be, you go to a corner, that might be, you go to the car, that might be, you go into the bathroom, anywhere you can, right? If possible. And then you re-engage and continue on. We're going to do this quick, we'll be out of here. But maybe you're online and you can't. You got to get this thing, you got to get the milk through the register and out the door. You're on a time constraint, like you just got to do it. Then you're just going to understand what you're dealing with. Press on, make it as quick as you can. As long as your energy is calm, like, I know what I'm dealing with, I've got this, sorry guys, people will calm down because they don't know what to think in the moment when they're watching someone have a complete meltdown. And they're looking at you, the mother, to see, do you have this under control or not? So if you're in a situation where you just got to fly out the door, you don't have time to stop, settle the emotion center down and have a logical conversation. In that case, you just, sorry guys, I know, we'll be out quick, boom, 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 and you're done. And you just duly note to yourself, right? Can my child, this is test day. Can my child handle being at the grocery store at 5 o'clock when everybody's blood sugar is down, everybody's coming home from work? Maybe this is too advanced, and you wait for another time. So I know our time is almost up, but I'm hoping it's not a one and done. It's not a simple answer. There are multiple things happening, and your knowledge, your ability to understand what's going on in your child's brain will help you know what you can do, what's reasonable that you can do. Does that answer the question, Jen?
Yeah, that's wonderful, because I feel like in my head, when people were saying, people that I've looked up to and I would ask them parenting questions, it was just like that, that behavior is unacceptable. You have to bring them to the car. But for me, I didn't understand that, like, that part of it. It was just like, that doesn't seem like a good punishment to me, because they're never going to learn how to be in society. Even my child with autism, it's hard getting out the door sometimes. And when we're there, I know as a parent, it might not always work, but there has to be like this window, like you said, where you're on the line with the milk and you have to go and stay calm. Like, I can't imagine like my kids having that much control where now I can't even have milk in my coffee tomorrow because they disrupted my, you know what I'm saying? And then it becomes like, am I doing the wrong thing? But it makes sense, like explaining that you're removing the stimulus, all the things that are happening around them, and you're bringing them back to like where they need to be. Just like when I lose my patience with my children, I have to almost remove myself sometimes from everything that's happening, catch my breath, have a water, say a prayer, do something, and then come back. It doesn't always, I'm not that disciplined yet, but I'm trying. So it does make sense in that aspect. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, motherhood, what a journey, right?
Yeah, they're all yelling in the back of my car right now. So I'm muting myself, but thank you.
Yeah, I find that there are multiple components to motherhood and raising a human. Physically, neurologically, socially, emotionally, spiritually, there are lots of components. And knowledge is power. The more you know, the more you can assess which one of these components needs to be addressed first. Is this a social issue? My child's old enough for us to talk about the social component. Is this a neurological issue? I'm with a 3-year-old who's overstimulated and tired. I need to deal with the brain, right? This is not a social issue, like we don't behave this way in public. For a 3-year-old who's just, all in their impulse. So that's why there's very rarely will you hear me give a one simple answer, because every family is different, every child is different. The stage that they're at in their development is going to affect the way you come at it, and your ability to assess what's happening in their brain, what's happening in their body, what's happening in this relationship. That's information. Those are pieces of the puzzle. And as you gather all that information, you can more accurately click the pieces together and get the desired outcome.
I see the calmness and the stability coming over women when they have your understanding. When you impart this clarity that it's an emotional tantrum and it's overstimulation, the parents are not, me as a mother, if I would have known that years ago, I would have been like, oh, I understand now.
Yeah.
Now I can be calm in the situation because I have an understanding. Knowledge is power in this situation. And it is very much, I just love the way that you are equipping these moms and these women to raise these children in a godly character way. I mean, you've given some powerful tools here. This is really cool.
Thank you, Crystal. I love you. You have such a beautiful heart and say the nicest things.
Oh, thank you. But you just being able to have these tools in our toolbox so that when we walk out on test day, maybe the first couple times it's test day for us too. Do we know how to use these tools? Do we know how to stop and recognize what's going on?
Yes.
And do we have the ability to tap into those things that we've learned from Loyola in our class?
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful teaching.
Thank you. I guess the last thing I want to say, just on the tail of what you said, Crystal, is I think that people underestimate the power of understanding what's happening and why it's happening. And a great illustration of this concept is, have you ever felt like something was wrong? Like maybe you can't breathe well, or you got headaches all the time, or you got an ache and you're like, oh, I don't know why. And you go to the doctor or you talk to somebody who's knowledgeable and they explain it. And they're like, you're not crazy. This is what's happening. This is why it's happening. And just understanding and the information helps you go, oh, okay, at least this all makes sense now. You haven't even got the solution. You haven't even gotten the remedy yet, but just the mere understanding takes a level of anxiety away that helps a lot, right?
Yeah, is that why you see older women sitting in their rocking chair going, it's okay, with all this grace and all this peace, because they have all this understanding that they've built I want to be that. I want to be that old grandma sitting in my chair going, it's okay, I understand.
Amen. Amen. Me too.
Does anybody else have anything else to add before we close this off?
I was just going to piggyback on what you said too, Crystal, because it is true. Like, as young moms, especially without the Rooted Cafe, I don't know what kind of mom I would have turned out to be. I've been on with the Rooted Cafe for it'll be 2 years this October, I think, or November. So the mentors and the Titus 2 women on this are huge. And I'm really grateful to have this piece as well, to be more aware, like what you said. Like, I'm gonna have a conversation with my kids and be like, oh, like during these games, like just not knowing what puzzle piece to put in, But like what you were saying, Crystal, it really does help, especially moms like me and Jen who have really young kids, to not look at them as bad or like that we failed in some way. This is normal neurological behavior for these little kids to get triggered and not know what to do with these triggers. They don't even know what they're feeling to even be able to communicate to us what's happening inside of themselves. And so it takes that away from our minds too, that frustration that builds up. Or even for me, like I've noticed whenever I feel triggered by my kids' reactions, it's a fear response that I messed up and my kid's not going to be a good adult. You go down that fear path of like, I failed, And so at the end of the day, when you look at it as what it is, which is my child is figuring out humanity.
Yeah.
He is overstimulated. My calmness, I think the way Simi says it is download your calm to the kid. And it actually works for my son when he is in a fit. It's almost like that weighted jacket kind of thing. I just pick him up and wrap him around me. Or my daughter, I'll take her hand and I'll do little squeezes. Like I've learned they're little things that help them, but she likes hand squeezes. It's like a massage to her.
Nice.
He likes body squeezes, the whole thing. I just pick him up and I hold him, and not having this, like having that moment to calm myself down, I can actually download my calm to them, So yes, Crystal, like I agree. I'm so grateful to have you here to bring your piece, because it is so valuable to us. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
And I think, Loyola, you are beautiful in the tools that you provide. Just absolutely. Because it's one thing to have understanding. It's another thing to know what to do with that understanding.
Practicality. Yes.
Yeah. We're going to try and keep things really, really practical, because there's a lot of information out there right now, with social media, the stimulation is everywhere, and the information, you can just pile it all in. But being able to take it to that next level and not only implement it, but then to boil it down and simplify it so that your child can now grab hold of the concept. Like that's where I want to take these classes, is to a really practical place, because I'm thinking of your child. I'm thinking of the children as I'm sharing a concept. It's not just about mom having the information, although that's where it starts, but then you got to find a way to communicate that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
I can't wait. Are you going to do a class on hitting?
It's not in the curriculum for soul traits, but I do have a coffee chat.
Coffee chats.
Coffee chat.
Yeah, coffee chats are tomorrow.
Oh,
so
great.
The next day. So
they'll be.
What's that?
It's tomorrow for you.
Tomorrow, yeah.
What time is that at, y'all?
That will be at 12 noon Eastern.
Okay.
I think it's at 1 Eastern.
Okay, 1 Eastern. Let me look on sometimes I get my coffee chat with Loyola.
It's 1 Eastern.
1 Eastern. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Perfect.
Check your band calendar. It's in your band calendar.
Me, Jen will probably be on there like, hey, telling you all our situations and how should we respond.
Love it. I can't wait.
You'll get to know our kids really well, I'm sure.
I love it. It's going to be fun.
I'm excited. Well, thank you.
You're
and
welcome.
thank you, Loyola. We're going to close it out. You have a blessed day, and we will see you tomorrow.
Very good. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Bless you.